Go. Yeah. Hi, my name is Michael J. Russ, and this is Beyond the 3D. As a listener and a viewer of Beyond the 3D, you know one thing is certain. I'm going to talk about life transformational tools. And my new podcast called Life Moves is pretty much in that same vein as well. It's about how you can take control of your mind, your body, your spirit, to make sure that you're controlling every thought, inner conversation, feeling, and action. And today, we're going to talk about going beyond the 3D with a very special life transformational tool. And you might think it's kind of simple. However, if you're a golfer, it's one of the most essential elements, essential tools that you have on the course. And the reason I wanted to do this interview with this gentleman is because he has invented this life. He is actually the CEO of the company that has produced this life transformational tools. It's a shoe. Your deepest connection, your most viable connection playing golf, and the most important connection is with the ground. And most people don't really know that. And the reason the feeling comes in is because this particular golf shoe can actually transform your life. It can take it that far. It's not only in the golf course, but it can take it farther than that. And the gentleman, his name is Robert Winskowicz. And Robert, CEO of Sqairz Golf, welcome.
It's my pleasure. Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's awesome. I just want to briefly have you tell our audience how you got to doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so I came out of the golf industry many years ago. Back in the day, I worked for McGregor Golf, and then I worked for Arnold Palmer for 3.5 years, running his golf company. And it was interesting. I enjoyed telling the story about Arnold, that the very first time I presented products to him as part of my marketing plan, he had mentioned to me, he said, Bob, what's in it for the golfer? And that was something that really lived with me from that day forward. With every time I made a presentation to him, it was always led with what's in it from the golfer's perspective. So since that time in developing this shoe, I had this revelation one day when I was out meeting a friend of mine at a driving range, and I happened to be wearing square toe dress shoes. And I had picked up one of his wedges as I was talking with him and decided to go into the driving bay next to him and start hitting balls. And I noticed that I felt more balanced, more stable in each one of my shots. And I thought maybe at the time it was because I was a little more hesitant to go after it because I was in dress shoes, but that wasn't the case. It was the fact that my toes was sitting naturally in that shoe and really not angled to the center of the shoe. So I had this feeling of better balance and stability. But after doing all this research that I've done, not only was it a feeling of better balance, it scientifically proved itself out. And that's how it all began.
That's absolutely fabulous. I didn't really understand that the relationship. I read the studies and they're absolutely awesome. And I guess I would miss that little part about it's the square toe. There's a reason for that. When the front of the shoe spreads out, that gives you better balance and control and feel for the ground. Am I right?
That is absolutely correct. But see, that's the cornerstone. That was in golf footwear. When you think back about when golf footwear was invented, which was in the late 1800s, and it wasn't until 1890 they put cleats in the shoe. And since that time, I jokingly argue with people that look, since that time, you can't name one thing that they put on a golf shoe since that time to help you play better golf. And as you think back in golf, and you take somebody like a Karsten Solheim who invented ping, and you think of Ely Callaway with the Big Bertha Club, they were after one thing. They were after perimeter weighting. And perimeter weighting was their key and what they really sought after in developing these clubs. And they let the look of the club be dictated by the science and not the other way around. And the same is true for Sqairz. is that I was after a whole variety of different things when I looked to reinvent the golf shoe. And one thing really led to another. And I'll explain, is that because of the square toe, it allows your toes to sit naturally in the shoe. And when you angle your toes to the center of the shoe, it puts a lot of stress on your ankle. And you could do the same kind of exercise with your hand. When you squeeze your fingers together, you can feel the tension it puts on your wrist. So that was first and foremost. So now you've got proper range of motion for the feet. The feet can operate naturally in the shoe. And again, it starts with biomechanics. So that's number one. But now that allowed us to widen the base under the ball of the foot. So if you take the base of the shoe and you start out with a square toe, then you could widen the base. And the industry, footwear industry, has been after that for a long time, because that fundamentally and scientifically gives you better balance, the wider the platform. But with a rounded toe shoe, the shoe wouldn't look very good. It'd look like a clown shoe, because it starts off with a rounded toe and then it goes to a very wide base. But since we started with a square toe, we could keep it looking symmetrical. So now you've got a wide base, better balance, better stability. And so by widening that, what we also did now is we were able to create an increase of total surface coverage of the ground. So the total coverage of the ground now is far greater than any other shoe. Now, what does that mean? Well, in the golf swing, distance is created by swing speed. And swing speed comes from your body mass, the ground, and gravity, all working against them, working against each other. So now with the exchange of energy that you throw into the ground, the wider the base and the more surface contact area, the greater the energy exchange. And the greater the energy exchange, that means more energy put into the club, into the ball, and hence more club head speed, more distance.
That's awesome. Now, here's the connection. And it's really why you're on this program. Golfers, people are leaving golf because they're not having the kind of success they expect to have playing the game. Golf is a sport that requires practice, and that requires time. Practice to get better. Your shoes have the gift of being able to help the golfer evade some of the most fundamental problems in the game. And those problems are directly tied to the way the golfer feels. And here's my point. If you don't feel good playing the game, if you don't have some successes that keep you coming back, if you don't feel good about yourself and the connection you have with the game and the experience you have with the game, then you're not coming back. And the unfortunate thing is there are more golfers leaving the game than coming to the game. And here's the thing about golf, because I've been playing since I was 10 years old. Golf is, in my view, a mirror of life. It's literally a mirror. On the golf course, you get the opportunity to actually practice resilience, patience, some of the basic life tools you need in order to survive and be successful. And feelings are connected to that deeply. The feeling, there's two types of feelings here. I was talking to my friend Charles Lightfoot of the Brooklyn Brooklyn Junior Autistic Golfers Academy. And he was mentioning, he says, look, Mike, he says, yeah, there are two types of feeling. There's the feeling that you're providing, the connection of the feeling between the golfer and the ground. That's one type of physical feeling. And then I'm talking about a mental feeling where you get both here. You get the shoe helps you feel better about being connected. It gives you that relationship to the ground you need. And that can help you be more successful as a player, whether you're an amateur, avid golfer once a week, once every 6 weeks or once every 6 months, or whether you're a professional, which I love. And the aspect here of mental feeling that I think is really important, and this is where I come in, I love playing the game because I love recovery. I like the ability to just focus on hitting good shots and letting things, letting it go where it goes, and then picking it up from there. One of the things about golf that you have to do is you have to be forgiving of yourself, because you're going to make mistakes. As in life, you make mistakes. It's what you do when you make that mistake that counts. And your golf shoes kind of, it just struck me. I read all this research and I was like absolutely blown away by some of the aspects of how this helps the golfer feel better about playing the game, because they're experiencing more success. Now, give me a couple of those things. Just tell our listeners what a couple of those things are. We've gone through the obviously the spreading of the foot, getting better balance, better control, but what else is there?
Yeah, and I think you're real. That was a great, you nailed it. And I'm gonna start by discussing, even in golf club technology today, what they've done is they've been able to expand the sweet spot on a drive. Characteristic I think a lot of these companies are after is for unstable hits, so something that is off center hits and something where you're unstable. And so if you hit it in the end of the club or on the heel, you're not losing too much distance. So that's helping the golfer feel better about his swing, simply because we're not that good in relationship to the pros to always hit that ball on the sweet spot. So they're trying to accomplish having you feel better about your game by off-center hits, that you're not losing too much. Now, same with the shoe. The golf swing is built from the ground up. If you don't have that balance and that stability in the golf shoe, your body has got an internal GPS. You're going to seam off. Your body is going to know. So when you take that swing back, if you're not balanced, you're going to compensate in some way. So the shoe provides that overall balance and stability, but it also provides this connection to the ground. And this connection to the ground, because of the wide base and the cleats and the cleat positioning, is to help you generate more swing speed. And that means you'll hit the ball farther. So in the game of golf, distance seems to be paramount. Everybody is always looking for more distance, but you get more distance from better hip rotation, shoulder rotations. And a lot of people miss the fact that your feet facilitate hip rotation, and your feet facilitate balance and stability and weight transfer. All of these have a direct relationship with distance and with accuracy. So I'll give you an example. Sepp Straka, who was on the PGA Tour, finished in the top 10 last week. When you talk to him about our shoe, his whole thing is he doesn't defer to I get more distance or that. He said, it gives me a feeling that I can really go after it. It's that mental confirmation that I am connected to the ground, I'm stable, I'm balanced. And you've got to, in golf, so many people stand on that tee and think about what can go wrong. And that's the worst thought in the world, because your brain will execute probably most of them. But here's the thing. If you can stand over that shot and you just have this feeling of better balance, better stability, it checks off that box. And now you can focus on what really you need to do, which is forget everything and just execute a good, solid shot. And that's what we provide. We provide that freedom of thought, that you are connected, you are balanced, you are stable in the shoe, and that you've got a really good chance to hit a good shot.
That's absolutely amazing. What a beautiful explanation. And that professional golfer is hitting it spot on. Now, I want to take this just to another level here, because in order for this game to progress, in order for it to start growing again, we need youth. We need youth. And what I love about your shoes is the fact that what we're eliminating is a lot of the distraction, a lot of the issues that prevent these youth from actually being able to experience the success hitting the golf ball and getting that feeling, that connection with the ground that's so vitally important when they begin the game. And I've seen some really brilliant players. And I think that if the professional's giving that kind of feedback, imagine what it could do for the self-esteem, the self-confidence of our young people today that are beginning to play the game at earlier and earlier ages because of Tiger and
Right.
all the other professionals. I mean, there's been a lot of youth that have come into the game. There's some great youth around here. I find it interesting, and I love golf because as one of my teachers from 25 years ago, Clyde Daniels, who qualified for the U.S. Senior Open at Cave Creek in 2002. He said, look, he said, golf opens doors. Golf opens doors.
No question.
If you play golf well, it doesn't matter what your age is, what your education is, how much money you make. You can stand in an office with a captain of industry and be on par equal with them because they want to play like you.
I couldn't agree more. You know what? You're onto something there, because you know what I find is that all of us can't go out and play 18 holes like Tiger would. We can't, but we can play like him on several shots throughout the round. You know, I've got a friend of mine that can't break 100, and he comes back into the grill room and somebody says, "What'd you shoot?" And he says, "You should have seen the shot that I hit in the 17th hole." You know, and for him, that's what it's all about. Now, the other thing about him is that he is such a pleasure to play with. Why? Because he's competitive within him, but he doesn't show it open. Everything to him is a blessing that he's on that golf course. And you know what? For the better golfer, one of the tough things is being paired up with somebody that is not a good golfer. But everybody enjoys playing with him because of his attitude, his outlook, and the fact that on a couple of holes he can play like Tiger Woods, you know, and that's what this game offers. And it offers the youth, is that they're the ones that recover quicker, that they go out and if it's baseball, they strike out 3 times, but that one time they hit it and they come home and tell their parents, "Damn, I just hit it in the outfield," you know? And the same is with golf, same exact thing.
Focus on the thing that went right and forget about the stuff that went wrong. And then you become a better player because you focused on what's right, what you did right, you break it down and you figure out how to repeat it again. And that's the beauty of the game. There's a whole lot of people out there playing the game without the proper feel. Not only their connection with the ground, we know that now because as I spoke with you and I've looked at the studies here that you've put together, which are the independent studies are brilliant on this. I told my girlfriend who plays golf with me, and I said, a guy got an 18 handicapper, got 24 yards out of a 7-iron with these shoes, 24 more yards. That's insane. Imagine how somebody feels with that kind of confidence. And that's really what we're talking about here. When I talk about these shoes are life transformational, I'm talking about developing confidence on the course, whether it's 1 shot or a dozen shots, where you hit shots that you haven't hit before. You have that confidence because your shoes are working for you 100%. And then you have that confidence that you can take away from the course. And I always talk about, I think my last podcast was about how to develop more self-confidence. How do you do that? What's a move? I gave 3 moves that people could use to develop self-confidence. And one of those moves is to relive a successful moment in your mind when you need it. You got to be able to draw upon these because many people don't remember the bad moments. That's just the problem. They have so many bad moments clogged up, you can't find the good ones.
Right.
And really, you have to, in order to get instantaneous self-confidence when you're doing something new, you have to be able to go back and say, hey, if I made that miracle shot playing golf, I can do this. This can happen. And it is amazing. You're right about one thing. When kids get when kids can get one good shot, one good connection, and that really just makes you real. You at that particular moment, you have evidence that you can make it happen. You have evidence, right? You have that experiential wisdom that you can actually do it. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, these particular shoes that you have, the Sqairz, which I can't wait to see because I'm a 7 handicap. I'm a 7 handicap, and I drill it. I drill it at the pin. I'm a pin seeker. I hit the ball very straight. I don't hit a lot of, sometimes a little slight draw. And believe it or not, that is due to Charles Lightfoot. that's that's the reason why I play so well today. I spent 16 hours working with him one summer, and he straightened everything I had out. The next 2 years, my game went to trash because I was working, you're always confused in your mind about old and new. And I finally, grooved the new, and it works. But that's the thing about golf, is that it does have the ability. I like to call it the miracle maker. If you didn't believe in miracles before you played golf, you put in your case now the right shoes, the right stick, the right basics, and you can connect and you can make a miracle happen. Whether it's a hole in one or a shot from 150 yards that seeks the pin and ends up a foot away or a few inches away, and you're startled. You're like, my gosh, I actually did that. And that's the beautiful thing about it. The earlier we can get kids experiencing that, the better. Now, what you focus on ladies? You have a ladies line as well.
Yes, yeah. I'm really excited about that. That's really the same fundamental technology in the men's. And I do want to go back and address what you just said, which is spot on, is that, look, this developing equipment in the game of golf, or developing products out there in the market, it's all about helping people play better. We call it under the umbrella game improvement. Yeah. And, a lot of, in today's world, there's a lot of marketing out there that talks to that, but it's often difficult to point to places on the technology or on the product that actually can help you play better. And I call that visual technology. It's like when Ping came out and they were a radically different looking club, or the Big Bertha, a large club, and it was for a reason. And the way our shoe is designed, and the reason it looks like it does, is because it can deliver all of these benefits to help the golfer play better golf. And one of the things we found with ladies is that a lady's foot is anatomically different than a man's foot. And historically in the game of golf, to save money, manufacturers would take a men's shoe or a men's last and continually shrink it down to women's sizes and throw some feminine colors on it and say, here's a lady's shoe. And it really didn't address the structural differences in the feet between men and ladies. And that's where we were different. We went out, we did all the research, and we built the shoe based upon the differences in women's foot. So this is truly a shoe designed for women's feet. But the one thing that really, really was serendipitous for us is that we've learned that over the years, with women putting those high heels and squishing their toes into a shoe that looks like it's way too small for them, is that they've developed feet problems, which is bunions, corns, and hammer toe.
Right.
And the interesting thing about our ladies' shoe is the same with the men's, is that because of the wider toe box, it accommodates the common problems that women suffer by wearing the type of shoes they've previously worn. So they find this extraordinary freedom for the toes and comfort. Hence, we call the shoe Freedom. And so it's something that it's a performance-based golf shoe. When we approached the design of this, is that we said, look, women want to play better golf too. It's not all about fashion. Secondarily, we said we want it to be more functional, to accommodate the structural differences and to really make it something that was truly designed for the women. And so I think we checked the box on all of that stuff. We gave them a good looking shoe that accommodates their feet problems, designed for them, provides a comfort and the game improvements for them. And so I'm really proud of what we developed.
Again, leading to increased confidence. And I think that I'm seeing more and more women play the game here where I am.
Highest growth segment in golf right now. Highest growth segment is women, followed by juniors. And a lot of that was, I really believe, was in response to the pandemic, where, it's really a sport that you can social distance, and the husband and wife or the father, daughter, or several ladies and just go out and play under that shroud of social distancing. So it was one of the only opportunities really to get out and be outside and feel free from the pandemic. So a lot of women pursued the game at that point, and I'm excited to see it because I think it's providing the growth in the game from an area that was stagnant. Same with juniors. So, we're really pleased to see it. And to your point earlier, it's, depending on your handicap level and depending on what products you're presently wearing, you're going to see a gap in performance. And again, that gentleman picked up 24 yards on a 7-iron. I mean, he was wearing these sneakers, sneaker-like material that was promoting. If you look at a sneaker-like golf shoe, if you can hold it by the toe and the heel and twist it, it's not providing you with the structure you need. And if it's a lightweight sneaker-like, it's forcing you, when your foot is in the shoe, to move. It's called inversion. Your foot moves outside of the midsole, so you get stuck on your right side. So that's going to cause you to slice it or pull it. So there's been a lot of advancement since this. Some manufacturers believe that, hey, it's all about comfort and not performance. So they'll provide a mesh-like shoe like this, which is not good for the golfer. And we, on the other hand, provided something that had more structure so you can play better golf. So you can also have the same amount of comfort. So again, we're seeing differences between the footwear that somebody was previously using, and it's almost like the analogy of playing with the old style clubs of 30 years ago and playing with today's technology. You need the reason for people to switch shoes, to switch clubs, and that's called innovation. And that's what we provided. And hence, when we compare our shoe of today versus something 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they're seeing those big differences. A player like yourself will most likely feel much more balanced ability, much more comfort, and pick up some more swing speed. So you'll be noticing, and maybe not that 24 yards, certainly not, but you may be picking up 7 or 8 yards. And the example of that is somebody like Nick Faldo. Nick Faldo picked up 2.2 miles an hour in swing speed, which equated to about 7.5 yards of distance. John Daly picked up 3 miles per hour in swing speed and close to 9 yards of distance.
John Daly already had a pretty fast swing, did he not?
Yes, he did. I played with him about a month and a half ago, and I've always hit the ball a long way. And the joke about me was all postage, no zip code. So I always hit the ball a long way, but couldn't tell you where it's going. Now I stood on one tee box and I smacked it, and I was 300 and something yards. And John got up there and he was 25 yards beyond me. He still hits it a long way.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I personally would tell you that wearing your shoes, I'd probably step back to the white tees again. I just turned 63. I hit about a 200, maybe maximum 240 drive now. I used to hit 270.
But it's down the middle, right? There's a lot to be said about down the middle.
Down the middle, 99.9% of the time. If it's not, I can tell you why. It's a balance issue.
Yeah.
So yeah. That's why I'm kind of looking forward to trying these shoes out, because I play once a week, but I shoot in the high 70s, low 80s,
nice.
Right around that area, and I enjoy it. Again, I have great swing mechanics because of a great teacher, Charles Lightfoot, with the Brooklyn Junior Autistic Golfers Academy. He's an amazing guy. He's one of the most amazing teachers I've ever experienced in my life, period, as far as that goes. So kudos to him for helping with my swing and helping me feel better about the game, because there is an instant relationship between feeling successful and self-confidence in golf. Happy to see that the science of Sqairz is going to help more people play a consistently better game and feel better about themselves. That's really what this is all about. Now, let me ask you, you're making ladies' shoes, you're making men's shoes. When's the transition into youth shoes?
Yeah, so we launched this, Mike. We launched this back at the PGA show of last year, back in 2020. And here we are now. And really, it wasn't until June we signed Sir Nick Faldo. So I like to tell people it was at that point that the world stood up and took notice of us. And again, so since that time, if you think about it, we're only about 13 or 14 months into this. And so we launched a brand starting from a size 7 all the way to a 14. Now that we're out there, we've made the inroads we made the inroads that we've made. Now it's time to go back and to start filling in, to make smaller sizes, to promote the youth sizes, things of that nature. So again, it's the evolution of a brand. It's very, very expensive to each mold that you develop in a size is about $7,000. So if you think about a size 7 all the way to a 14, you get half sizes, it becomes a very expensive proposition. So you want to launch out there where the masses are at first, the men's and the ladies. And now we're really going to start paying a lot of attention to juniors. Now, that is one of my passions. In fact, we're the official golf shoe of the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour. And so the Hurricane Junior Golf Tour is the largest junior golf tour in the country. They've got over 285 events, and I think it's 35 states and 4 countries. So we went in as a major supporter of junior golf because I believe in that, believe in growing the game starts there in the ladies side of things. So, and again, we just partnered with PXG to support this major event in October and November down there in Florida. And we're really excited about that too, to support these 2 aspects of golf. So it's an evolution of a company and we're going to get there. And I'm really excited about that too.
Well, let me ask you, anybody who's interested in learning more about Sqairz, where do they do it? Where are you currently have your shoes available? Kind of let us
Right.
know. Now that they're excited about it.
Yeah. We're direct to the consumer. We don't sell in retail. It's direct to the consumer. We have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if your size don't fit, your size isn't right, we can refit you and get the right shoes on. So if after you wear them, for whatever reason, it doesn't fit you, you don't like it, again, a 30-day money back guarantee. And you can find us at Sqairz, and that's Sqairz, Sqairz.com. And we have a very informative website. We talk about all of the performance characteristics. We talk about all of the studies that were done from the expert of pressure mapping, hip rotation, distance, balance, how it all relates, how to reduce slicing. And we've got some major people behind us, Jim McLean, iconic instructor, Rick Smith, same, Nick Bradley, a very, very, very well-known instructor. And then we've got Sir Nick Faldo, John Daly, and a host of country music players like Toby Keith, Lee Bryce, and all these guys playing it. Why? Because again, it's a good performing shoe.
Bottom line is, if you want to feel better about the game, better about yourself and your life and what you're capable of, you got to get some Sqairz. That's
absolutely
foundation. That relationship with the ground is where the game begins, where the good feelings begin. It's been an awesome time speaking with you, Bob, and I'm looking forward to playing with your shoes and giving you some feedback, putting this out there so that a lot of other people can understand how they can be more confident in their game and how that can translate to confidence in life. And that's really what it's all about. You play better, you feel better about yourself. Enough said, right?
So I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to sit here and have this chat. And I know you're going to be experiencing so much more success. This is just the beginning. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to wish you luck. I know you got all the luck. So thank you very much for your time. And Sqairz.com, I'll make sure that when that it's going to show up at the bottom of the screen here for people so that they can go there and check out your shoes and catch some videos and look at the research. More research than I mean, it's simple, but it's deep. It's simple and it tells you exactly what you need to know. And if you're a type of person that likes to get into the nuance and the details, great, it's there for you. If not, buy the shoes, check them out yourself. 30-day money back guarantee. You can't beat that. It's all about the feeling, and I know everybody wants it. So take care of yourself, and glad to have you, Bob.
Thank you, Michael. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks again.
Robert Winskowicz, everybody. Robert Winskowicz. Thank you. Bye-bye.